Jesse here with Canine Perspective, back with a dog attack review video. I was not able to find a full version without any commentary. This one is from Matt's lab, who's got a 3-minute clip with a little bit of commentary of his own, which I think this is great because people that are runners, that are joggers, it just kind of goes to show the potential dangers that they come across. And I imagine it's the same with skateboarders. Well, I know it's for sure with skateboarders because we get a lot of dogs that are reactive with skateboarders, bicyclists, segways, anything that's moving quickly. And this is because of prey drive. Dogs see something moving very quickly, and if they're human reactive and or have any kind of prey drive, they may pursue the person, which is exactly what happens here. So we're going to go ahead and start playing this clip, and of course I'm going to comment on it as we go along.
This is a surveillance video sent to me by a friend of mine. He asked me to post this on my YouTube channel to show people, especially runners, why they should be really cautious when running past somebody and their dog.
Okay. So yes, why they should be cautious, right? Because you're moving quickly and you don't know that person's dog, and a lot of times dogs will react to something passing by. So dogs, depending on their level of reactivity, if it happens to be a reactive dog, very rarely are they reactive to something 100 feet away. I've worked with a case like this. They're very vigilant. Typically, if you got a dog like that, chances are the owner's already being proactive with trying to address the issue, because it's like you literally can't go anywhere with the dog. Most dogs are here, right? So in terms of the reactivity, the window this is where things start to get their attention. And then this is where the dog is most likely going to react, right? So if I'm facing the camera here, dogs like out here, hypervigilant, where like everything turns them on, right? Then here, right here, this window here is where things get their dog's attention. And then here, when the thing's right in their line of sight, is usually where we're going to see the trigger, is as it's passing or as it just passes. So if the trigger is coming from this way, here the dog's going to lock on, and in here, unless it's a confident dog, is when they typically pursue, because now the back is facing towards them, okay? So we already see the dog catch a glimpse of the guy. The guy's approximately 20 feet away. This dog is most likely weighs more than the owner. So this is a case of a woman with a very powerful dog, maybe because of protection or security or whatever. She has the dog on a muzzle, which is good. So she obviously already recognizes something with the dog. Maybe has the dog on a gentle leader or a flat collar secured to the muzzle, because the muzzle does come off with the leash at some point, okay? So let's go ahead and watch what happens. So now the dog's getting frustrated and the dog's pulling back. So this is why having a properly fitted collar is very important, is when a dog is pulling back, right? The collar slides up and they pull back, and if it's too loose, this happens. And that's exactly what happens here. So the 2-finger rule that a lot of people go by, right, isn't meant to be sideways. It's meant to be like this. People go like this, right? So it's like this much space between the dog's neck and the collar. That slips over. It's like this. The collar should fit snugly, but should not slip over your dog's head, okay? Now, if you have like a whippet where the head is bigger than the neck, that's where collars like martingales come into play. If you don't want to use a prong collar or a slip chain type of collar, martingales are a good choice, because when the dog pulls back, it tightens, which doesn't allow for the dog to escape, okay? So the dog's already frustrated. You see the woman trying to control the dog, but you can't. Yeah. So here, the dog didn't even, the way this was fitted, the dog didn't even need to pull back. The dog literally just turned its head and it slipped off. So I'm not sure how she had this fitted. But at this point, right, the runner's already running. He's thinking the woman's going to pull to the side. He's going to keep running. Everything's fine. He's not anticipating that the dog is going to get off the leash. I completely understand that, right? Now here, it looks like he's distracted by his phone. So actually, let me go back to see if he was distracted as he's running. Yeah, he ignores the dog. Now he's looking at his phone. Now he looks at the lady. Okay, see that again. No, okay. No, he was actually looking, and it looked when I paused it like he was looking at his phone. All right, so he goes to check, is this dog going to pursue, right? So what I would do here, proactively, I'm running, I acknowledge the threat, okay? Because the dog started to react about 20 feet away. So this is, again, environmental awareness. Lady pulled aside, so she did do her job. Um, leaving aside, you know, this dog is more powerful than her and all that other stuff. Like, I like that she had her dog muzzled. I like that she pulled her dog to the side. I like that she was trying to control the dog, but really she was creating more frustration. And this is where training comes into play. This is where education, knowing how to control a powerful dog, training your powerful dog to not be reactive, to obey, all that stuff, right? So there's things that I like and there's things that I don't like. So again, environmental awareness. If I'm not a runner, but if I was the runner, I see the dog and I look, and I know people say like don't make direct eye contact with the dog to be non-threatening, all that stuff. Whatever, if that's your thing, that's fine. I don't care, but I am a dog trainer for total 14 years. I'm looking at the threat as I'm passing so that I can see what's going on and then catch it sooner. So he catches it right when the dog gets off the leash. He's probably hearing commotion. He probably hears the lady go, "Hey," right? Calling the dog back. He's got his headphones on. Me personally, I like to keep one headphone in, one headphone out because I want to be able to, again, be aware of my surroundings. And then again, environmental awareness. So knowing what your outs are, which he does end up doing, which is good. So we acknowledge the dog, dog's on the way. Now here, what I like, he's probably not doing this on purpose, but what I like that he's doing is that when the dog's running, and you'll see it from the different when they change the camera, he has his hand out like this, and he stopped moving, right? And the dog goes to jump, and the dog's target is going to be the closest thing to them, okay? That was his arm. He's like this, okay? Probably bracing for the dog to latch. And when the dog lunges, he goes like that, causing the dog to miss. And then with the other arm, the dog comes back and he does it again, causing the dog to miss, okay? Now, he probably did this by accident. Um, if he didn't, he knew to do this. I mean, kudos to him for being educated. But we do this in bite work. Okay, so in bite work, when we're training a dog to be aggressive on command, we have the guy with the sleeve, right? And we have someone holding the dog back to create agitation. And we're antagonizing the dog to create that frustration, to create that aggression that we're looking to control. And when the dog goes to bite, like you'll see them run in and they go like this, right? And then they'll come in close. And when the dog goes to bite, they'll do this and they'll pull it away. By doing this, the dog goes for the bite. They miss the bite. It creates more frustration, leading the dog to want to go even harder, to try even harder, right? And we eventually do give them the win, and then we go back and forth, and then we train that, of course, to become controlled aggression. So here, when the dog was coming, the dog had a target, and the guy just did this, causing the dog to miss, which then gives them an opportunity. Okay, now here, of course, the guy's caught off guard. In this case, he's not confronting the dog, but what he's doing is to a degree containing the situation, not elevating. Okay, because remember, people usually scream, they run, they start to freak out. This guy maintains his composure. He's relatively calm and he's making small movements. So the dog's not getting a whole ton of feedback from him. Okay, so it's not escalating the situation. Yep. So you see him, the dog's got the target, it's his hands. So the guy's moving and the dog jumps and the dog's missing all the bites. Okay, so he's stationary, he's pinned, but because the dog's locked on with what he's doing, even though the dog's trying to bite him, he's not frantic. He's not like this, right? With everything moving. Now, if my legs are moving, the dog could bite my leg, my hands, my arms. Here the guy's stationary and he's just moving his hands and the dog is locked onto the hands, but since he's moving them out the way, the dog is missing, okay? Lady comes to get her dog. Okay, right? So like right there, the dog jumped up and put its paws on his leg and again is going for the target, which is his hand, and misses. And you can see what the dog was planning on getting the bite because it did his head shake right there. The lady comes in, there's no leash, there's no collar on the dog. She grabs him by the scruff. So I do like that she did that. She just physically grabbed what she could to contain the dog. So I do like that. Now we do want to be mindful as the owner is sometimes in this frenzy. If the dog is just biting, you may get bit. Of course, this is your dog. You should be controlling your dog. So if you get bit in that process, take that as a lesson learned. Yeah, so you can see here, let's play that back. Yeah, it looks like he caught her mouth there. I'm going to slow this down. Yep, right there. Her hand is directly in the mouth, and you see a couple of, it doesn't look like he fully bit because he most likely realized it was his owner. Yep, that's the frenzy. Okay, and then he realizes, wait a minute, you're not my target. He sees the guy again, and then he locks on. Okay, just go ahead and put this back to our normal speed. Dog goes back for the guy. Now the guy's backing up, and again, the guy didn't freak out. He's keeping his composure. Now you may think like, what if he took off, right? Just try to escape the situation. Most likely, it would have turned the dog more on, put the dog into definite prey drive. If he ran, I would have again ran on top of that vehicle. He most likely had enough time to jump on that. Looks like a trailblazer there. It's okay. He did it, but he does figure it out. So, I don't know if the dog made contact here, but I think the dog managed to get him. Yep, he brought the hand down. Now he got the other side, and you see the guy just kind of body blocking. Woman's coming in. Okay, so at least the lady's trying to contain the situation. Okay, the guy is slowly backing away, but maintaining that forward body language. It doesn't look like he's screaming or yelling. I believe I read an article where it said that he was trying to like, it's okay. It's not going to help. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Again, and you can see here, dog, again, redirecting that bite to the owner. Lady, she's not backing off though, so kudos to her. So now the dog's just frustrated. The dog's biting the owner going, get the fuck out of my way. I'm trying to get to my target. I'm trying to get to my prey here. Okay, that's when the dog starts to do that, because you see the dog looks like it puts his mouth on her, and it just completely ignores her, and you see its body language is coming around, going, get out my way. Guy is still there, and then he seizes out, right there. Very good. Okay, so he took his opportunity. He looked. There's a fence. I'm gonna jump. He jumped up. Right. So let's say real time, going back to the start of the video, you acknowledge the dog, you already have momentum. Oh, there's a fence. First thing I would have done, again, we're looking back in hindsight. So a lot of this stuff most likely was just panicked behavior, but I think the guy did hold his composure relatively well. Keeping calm, not moving a whole lot. Doesn't look like what he was doing was escalating the situation. Had he become physical with the dog in this particular case, depending on how he approached the dog, potentially he could have backed the dog off. But with the owner there and then in the way as well, you also might hit the owner, which if that happens, it happens. You have to defend yourself. So unless when the dog was on the full charge, right when the dog jumped at him, if he caught the dog coming directly at him and had space enough to just kick the dog and make that impact as the dog was going for the initial bite, there, if it was a good kick, I could see the dog going, and it's just like shit, and then I fucked with the wrong person and then taking off. But we're going by what happened in the video. So if you have enough time between the dog getting to you, I always say come in, project, and if you need to, kick, swing a stick if you got a stick, you're projecting threat going, I'm going to defend myself from you. I'm not going to make this easy. Okay. Otherwise, what this gentleman did, again, did not escalate the situation, which I thought was good. Okay. So he's up on the fence. He's going to camp up out there. He's like, what the hell just happened? Lady looks like she's trying to secure her dog, which she doesn't. Okay. So yeah, dog just goes whoop. So here she could have just, it's looks like some kind of pit mastiff mix. Grab the scruff, right? And just walk your dog. Like just pick up the scruff, whether or not she had the strength to do so, but they have plenty of loose skin that I could just get 2 good hand grips full and then just start to like bring the dog back. Or get your leash and then, you know, make a slip leash to secure the dog. Okay, so she's walking like, okay, whatever. Dog stops to take a piss, completely oblivious to her, does not care. Okay, now she's made a game with trying to pursue her dog. Now here, in the top corner here where the vehicle is, just behind the vehicle to the right of it, you see a person. They see the dog from about 25, 30 feet away, and they go, nope, straight in the back seat of my car. Okay, so very smart. They had enough time. They had an immediate out. If that was not their vehicle, again, you can jump on top of the vehicle. Okay, I just watched the video that I'm going to assess, and somebody jumped on top of a vehicle and crushed the roof. I'm sure they're going to have to pay for it or something, but you want to think, do I want to pay for vet bills and potentially have permanent physical damage that I'm going to have to forever live with from this point going on? Or do I want to pay a couple of grand to fix someone's roof? That's how I view it. Again, lady just can't do anything about her dog. Now, as an owner, right, what could she have done? This dog clearly is in its own world. This dog is thinking, I have freedom. I never have freedom. And I'm going to just go and explore the world right now. And just, it's not intending to be a tyrant. It's just the way that people are behaving may potentially trigger the dog. So the dog's not going, oh, I'm gonna give my mom a really bad day today and make her chase me around. Dogs don't do that. The dog's just like, I'm free. And if the dog sees someone moving, the dog goes, I want to chase that, right? And if the person then sees the dog chasing them and responds incorrectly and panics or tries to run away or freaks out, then it just turns the dog on even more. But I like that this person had an immediate out.
Get the dog.
Now here with this gentleman, he's got 2 grocery bags. He sees the dog. He backs up. Again, he's got a fence behind him. He keeps the outside of his body out, and then he uses his bags to shield him, and he doesn't freak out. He doesn't go, oh my God, and start running. If he would have went like this, I anticipate the dog would have, again, escalated. But the way he handles it, he's calm. He backs up. He just kind of covers himself with the bags. The dog goes, you're a non-issue, keeps going.
Control. But eventually she does, and that's where this one...
Right, so you can see where he used the bag, dog goes, non-issue, keeps going, but again, does not care about the owner.
Right here. The guy was up...
And the owner is helpless, like she's useless. She doesn't know what to do.
He called the police, they came and talked to the owner. She explained that the dog just got off the leash, and she even had a muzzle on her.
Yeah, it looks like this looks like a Baskerville style muzzle, which is a good brand. We use that, but it looks like she used it also as a collar, which you don't do. Baskervilles it's its own separate thing, and then there's a loop on the bottom where you can secure an actual collar through the loop and then snap or buckle the collar so that the dog has the strap of the muzzle, then the collar feeding through a little loophole there to secure the muzzle to its face, and then you of course clip your leash to your collar. It looks like she kind of clipped the leash to the muzzle here. You don't do that.
Dog, and somehow it came off, and the dog went after the runner. He just walked away with a couple of cuts on his arm and 2 or 3 teeth marks, and that's about it. He really didn't do anything, and he moved on. But this is a good lesson for any runners or anybody who's running past a dog and they're not being very cautious. I mean,
yeah, right there. This is what I was talking about. So you see, he's most likely like, it's okay, right? But the way he ended up moving worked to his benefit. Let me slow this down. Playback. Yeah. Right when the dog jumps up, he pulls it back, and the dog, of course, misses, okay? I'm sure that this was non-intentional, but it did work out to his benefit.
It is a real scenario that could happen to anybody. So hopefully this video gave you something to think about next time you run past a dog and their owner, especially.
Yeah. Okay. It's pretty much the same thing. So another, I don't really believe that there's a right and wrong way to handle a situation. Every situation is different. Obviously, looking back in hindsight, it's like, oh yeah, we could have done this, you could have done that, right? Is that there's a multitude of options, and it's what would work within the moment. What do you have immediately available to you, right? If this guy did not have a fence and no cars around him, like you know, your best bet is then physically defending yourself. But he did have a few outs. He had vehicles. He obviously jumped the fence. So, you know, kudos to him for seeing that exit and just jumping up. But also, like, again, he just, for the most part, tried to remain calm. He was trying to soothe the dog, which the dog does not care about. I don't talk to the dog. I don't, at least not like, it's okay. If I'm saying anything, it's like, hey, again, I'm trying to scare that dog away. I'm not trying to be nice to the dog because the dog is clearly not trying to be nice to you. But I like that he was non-frantic. Uh, um, you know, the dog was, he was trying to soothe the dog, but the way it worked out when the dog would lunge, the dog was just for the most part missing, as opposed to just giving the dog a shield like this. And now by doing this, the dog just goes, I'm going to bite what you're giving me, and you're not really helping there. So it bought him some time. I think this could have been much worse had he handled it differently, like in a more panicked way. But it did minimize the damage or the harm that he did receive. So I think this was a good video, even though it's not confrontational. It's more kind of avoidant. The things that he did minimize the harm that he received. So I'm Jesse with Canine Perspective. Thank you for watching.